Have you ever known the next right step but remained stuck because you could not answer one question? Where will this lead? When will anything change? How could this possibly work? Why would God allow the journey to look like this? Those questions are not automatically wrong. Before direction is clear, questions can protect you from acting carelessly. But after God has made the next step clear, the same questions can become respectable hiding places for fear. You can call it caution while avoiding obedience. You can call it planning while demanding control. You can call it waiting on God while refusing to move without the entire map. That is why we must establish one safeguard immediately. Faith is not guessing what God meant. Faith is not turning an emotional impulse into a divine instruction. Faith responds to what God has made clear and trusts Him with the details He has not yet supplied. If the direction is unclear, continue seeking clarity. Do not invent the missing instruction and call that obedience. But when the next step is clear, do not let an unanswered question keep you motionless. Isaiah chapter 51 tells those who pursue righteousness and seek the Lord to look at Abraham and Sarah. Their lives show us a pattern of faith. Hebrews chapter 11 then reveals 4 questions. Abraham's journey had to move beyond where, when, how, and why. By the end of this message, you should be able to recognize which question has been controlling you and identify your next responsible step. God called Abraham to leave his country, his relatives, and his father's household for a land that God would show him. Abraham received a direction, but he did not receive the complete route. He knew he had to leave, yet he did not know every place the journey would take him. That missing information was not an accident. The journey would teach Abraham to depend on God's continuing direction instead of familiar systems of security. He was traveling toward a physical place, but he could not reach it through human calculation alone. He had to listen, move, stop, seek God, and move again. The journey was not merely taking Abraham somewhere. It was forming someone within Abraham. This is why delay was so dangerous. Genesis chapter 11 shows Abraham's family leaving Ur and eventually settling in Haran. The journey had started, but the movement stopped. Haran becomes a useful picture of a comfortable stopping place that slowly replaces the destination. It can feel reasonable to remain there. Your family may approve of it. Your fear may feel quieter there. Your reputation may remain protected there. Nothing about the place has to look openly rebellious. The danger is simply that you were called to continue, but you have learned how to live comfortably without continuing. Perhaps you have been waiting for everybody to understand your conviction before you obey it. Perhaps you keep postponing an honest conversation because peace without truth feels easier. Perhaps you know a habit must change, but you are waiting to feel less attached to it first. Perhaps you have confused the absence of pressure with the presence of direction. A comfortable place can still be the wrong place to stop. So ask yourself a direct question. Are you genuinely waiting for clarity, or are you using uncertainty to hide from something that is already clear? This distinction matters because careless action is not faith. Imagine that you sense a need to spend more time in prayer. That does not automatically mean you should resign from your job and abandon your responsibilities. The call to pray is clear, but resignation may be a detail you added yourself. That addition is not obedience, it is presumption. Presumption fills an empty space with an assumption, and then expects God to support it. Faith refuses to do that. When the instruction is unclear, faith can wait, pray, and keep seeking understanding. When the instruction becomes clear, faith obeys without demanding information God did not include. This gives us a simple test. Can you state what is actually clear without adding your fear, urgency, desire, or preferred outcome to it? If you cannot, do not manufacture certainty. If you can, then the next challenge may be one of the 4 questions. Hebrews chapter 11 verse 8 says that Abraham obeyed God's call and went out without knowing where he was going. The first question was about destination. Where will this decision lead? Where will I end up if I obey? Where is the guarantee that this path will look the way I expect? We often want God to show us the final destination before we take the first step. But clear direction for one step is not the same as a complete map for 10 years. Suppose you know that a dishonest practice at work must end. You may immediately ask where honesty will leave you. Will people trust you less? Will you lose an advantage? Will the situation become uncomfortable? Those consequences deserve wisdom, but they do not turn dishonesty into obedience. Or perhaps you know it is time to begin responsible preparation for a new season. You keep refusing to begin because you cannot see the final job, location, income, or outcome. You are demanding destination-level certainty before taking a preparation-level step. Faith does not require you to pretend that the unknown is easy. It requires you to stop treating the unknown as greater than the direction you have received. You may not know the whole route. You can still make the call, begin the preparation, tell the truth, change the habit, or establish the boundary that is already clear. Do not take 10 reckless steps to prove that you have faith. Take the next clear and responsible one. But even after you begin moving, another question will try to stop you. Hebrews chapter 11 verse 9 shows Abraham living in tents with Isaac and Jacob, who shared the same promise. The promise had been spoken, but its complete fulfillment had not arrived on Abraham's preferred timetable. The second question was when. When will the answer come? When will this season change? When will the waiting finally make sense? The question becomes heavier when you watch other people receive what you have been praying about. Their announcement makes your delay feel longer. Their progress makes your preparation feel pointless. Your age, calendar, bills, family expectations, and private disappointment begin speaking at the same time. Faith does not mean pretending that waiting does not hurt. It does not mean that every personal desire is a promise from God. It means that when God has made something clear, passing time does not make him dishonest. The danger of when is that you may give yourself a deadline God never gave you. Then, when your deadline passes, you treat your disappointment as proof that the entire journey was false. Abraham's tents remind us that a temporary season can last longer than expected without becoming the final destination. Waiting also does not mean doing nothing. Imagine someone who believes an opportunity will eventually open. Faithful waiting may look like learning, preparing, correcting weaknesses, serving well, and remaining responsible before any door appears. The opportunity is not guaranteed by the preparation. The preparation simply means delay has not been allowed to destroy faithfulness. You do not have to put your character, prayer, work, or obedience on hold until the answer arrives. You can live faithfully in the tent without pretending the tent is the destination. The question is not only, when will this happen? The better question is, who am I becoming while I wait? Hebrews chapter 11, verse 11 says, Sarah received strength because she considered the one who made the promise to be faithful. Her visible circumstances raised the question of how. How can this happen when the normal ability is absent? How can I move forward with limited money, limited experience, limited connections, or limited strength? How can anything change when the facts look so final? Faith does not require you to deny facts. It does not require you to ignore a medical report, a bank balance, a responsibility, or a genuine limitation. Sarah's faith was powerful precisely because the limitation was real. The issue was not whether the obstacle existed. The issue was whether the obstacle had greater authority than the God who had spoken. Sometimes how keeps you stuck because you think you must personally possess every resource before you can obey one instruction. You cannot see the full provision, so you refuse to begin with what is already in your hand. You cannot solve the entire problem, so you do not take the responsible action available today. You cannot predict how another person will respond, so you keep postponing the truthful conversation. You cannot guarantee success, so you label preparation useless. But your responsibility is not to manufacture the complete outcome. Your responsibility is to respond faithfully to what is clear and leave the result under God's authority. This must never become an excuse for foolishness. Faith can make a plan, count the cost, seek clarity, and act responsibly. It simply refuses to treat visible resources as the final definition of what God can do. Ask yourself, am I being responsible with a real limitation Or am I using that limitation to avoid every possible step? That question can expose the difference between wisdom and paralysis. Verses 17 through 19 of Hebrews chapter 11 bring us to Abraham's most painful test. God asked him to offer Isaac, the son connected to the promise Abraham had waited years to receive. The command appeared to collide with the promise. The final question was why? Why would God ask for the very thing he gave? Why would obedience become this costly? Why should I release control when I cannot understand the reason? Abraham's response was not empty thoughtlessness. Hebrews says he reasoned that God was able to raise Isaac from the dead. His obedience rested on what he knew about God's faithfulness, even when he could not explain God's method. This is not permission to follow a destructive or unbiblical impulse. Not every demanding thought is the voice of God, and confusion does not become holy because it feels intense. The lesson concerns clear, God-grounded obedience that challenges your preference or your need for control. In ordinary life, why may appear when truth requires an apology, but pride wants a complete defense first. It may appear when forgiveness is clear, but you still want resentment to punish the person who hurt you. It may appear when integrity costs an advantage you wanted to keep. It may appear when prayer remains necessary even though disappointment has made you emotionally distant. Asking why can be honest. The prison forms when a complete explanation becomes the price God must pay before you will obey what is already clear. You may understand later, or some parts may remain beyond you. Faith rests in God's character when the explanation is incomplete. Where demands a complete map? When demands a timetable? How demands visible capacity? Why demands a complete explanation? Each question is an attempt to remove uncertainty before obedience begins. But Abraham's journey shows that faith is formed inside that uncertainty. Faith does not eliminate every question. It prevents those questions from becoming your master. This is how the journey changes you. You begin by wanting God to explain everything. You mature by learning to recognize His clear direction, obey what He has said, and trust Him with what He has not said. Your security moves from the map to the guide. Your peace moves from the timetable to God's faithfulness. Your confidence moves from your resources to God's ability. Your obedience moves from complete explanation to surrendered trust. That is what it means to walk by faith. Take a moment and identify which question has been holding you. Is it where, when, how, or why? Then write down 3 answers. First, what has actually become clear? Separate God's clear direction from your wishes, fears, assumptions, and urgency. Second, what missing detail have you been demanding before you will move? Name the map, timetable, resource, or explanation you have turned into a condition. Third, what is the next faithful and responsible action that follows from what is clear? It may be an apology, a truthful conversation, a change in habit, consistent prayer, honest preparation, or patient faithfulness in today's responsibility. Do not invent a dramatic action merely because it looks spiritual. Do not remain in Haran merely because delay looks sensible. Return to what is clear. Take the next responsible step. Then keep listening as the journey continues. For Abraham, it was by faith. For every believer, the journey still requires faith. Not faith in money, influence, connections, perfect timing, or personal ability. Faith in the God who speaks clearly enough for the next step and remains faithful beyond what you can see. If this is your decision, write, "I will take the next clear step," in the comments. Subscribe for more biblical teaching that turns spiritual truth into daily obedience.